stand up, actually.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All righty. Or is it all right? I think it's all right.
All right.
I messed that one up. Well, welcome back. How's it going, Zach? What's up with you today?
Good, man. I've been sitting down too long. I had to stand up and stretch it out.
I hear you, man.
Yeah. How about
you? Doing a lot of sitting down myself. But yeah, fortunate that I was able to get out to the gym yesterday, which felt pretty good. It had been a little while. I've been busy with traveling and things. And then was able to take an evening walk last night, which was pretty nice.
Dude.
So trying to, because of our day-to-day, job and things being in an office, it helps, man, getting, making up the steps so that you can at least feel a little more reinvigorated to start the day fresh. You get some exercise and blood flowing.
And we're getting to that time of year now in Florida where we're starting to hit some of that cooler weather. I know we've got a little cool spell coming through for the weekend. High of 80.
That,
so we'll take that.
I think over here it's gonna, we're only about 3 hours from you, so it's going to be a little warmer, but the cool front is definitely going to make its way here. I think Sunday is when it's starting. So
yeah,
looking forward to that, man.
We'll take that
for sure. Yeah. It's been raining every day here, though.
I know, the past week, same for us.
Every day. But well, let's not rain on the parade of today's episode. We have an exciting one. So welcome back to the I Love Annuities podcast. Today's episode could save you thousands in hidden Medicare cost.
That's right. And we're diving into IRMAA, the income-related monthly adjustment amount. So that is the Medicare surcharge that punishes retirees for having too much income.
Too much income. It's a good thing to have, but in recent times with new legislation coming down the pike, having too much income can be a bad thing in certain ways. So we're here to uncover what those ways are and how you can avoid them ultimately to put more money back in your pocket. Most retirees, the thing is, they don't even know what triggers this IRMAA surcharge until it's too late. So today we're going to show you exactly how this works, how a Roth annuity strategy could help you eliminate or drastically reduce these surcharges, while also locking in tax-free, guaranteed lifetime income.
All right. And stick around actually till the end. We'll even walk through a real-life couple who used this exact approach and was able to save $8,400 a year on Medicare costs.
For sure. I'm excited to hear that, man. Anytime that we can help put someone in a better position overall and provide a higher probability of better retirement outcomes while also in real time reducing cost to that family, that's just a huge win in our book. And that's what we strive to do, is optimize the entire plan so that you get real benefits day one and out into the future.
And what is it? It's spend time now to save time later. We could even change it for this episode. Spend time now to save money later.
Yeah. There's a couple sayings like that. I think Dave Ramsey says one. It's like, live like no one now so that you can live like no one else later.
There you go.
And his thing is like kind of being frugal in a way and saving and not going into debt early in your life so that you can amass a fortune and then live like no one else later.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
Good stuff. So let's talk about IRMAA. What is IRMAA? Well, besides being an unattractive female name, IRMAA stands for Income Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. I probably shouldn't have said that.
Sorry to all the IRMAAs out
there. Well, what? We can't have an opinion here? Come on.
Well, listen, we got hit with IRMAA. So I've got bad recollection of the name IRMAA personally.
Exactly. So let's like uncover that a bit more because that sounded pretty broad. Irma was actually one of the hurricanes that devastated Florida in the not
Yeah,
so recent past, or in the recent past, rather. So we have every right as Floridians to feel that way. Now, I shouldn't have said female name. It should have been female hurricane name
there it is. Yeah,
in general, right?
yeah, that's right. We press forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm over it. I don't hold grudges. So we're good. So IRMAA is just Medicare's way of saying if you make more money or have more income, you're going to ultimately pay more in these surcharges.
That's right. And it applies to Medicare Parts B and D. So if your income crosses certain thresholds, your monthly premium jumps. And it's not just a small jump in many cases.
Yeah. So for higher income retirees, IRMAA can add over $6,000 per year per person. And it's based on your income from just 2 years ago. So even one time income events like Roth conversions, capital gains, or even just general IRA withdrawals can trigger future surcharges.
So it's interesting. We mentioned the example that we'll talk about later on. I had another one fairly recently. Had a client and her CPA on. We were talking about this and just how it might affect her, and it was changing. It was affecting her by about $75 a month, just by changing the amount of income that she had. And her CPA said, "Well, it's just $75 a month that it's going to affect you." And the client was like, "Well, that's $75 a month. That's my
Yeah.
money." It's
Every
like,
dollar counts.
that's it. She's like, "I'm on a fixed income. This isn't your
Mhm.
money to spend. This affects me quite a bit." So
Yeah.
yeah,
And a
I'm
lot of
looking at
people, that's a great point. $75 to someone may not be a lot of money, but $75 to someone else could be a lot of money, and especially if they're really living on a lower, modest fixed income. Every dollar counts. I mean, 75 bucks is like someone's cable bill, or
yeah,
maybe a cell phone bill or something, and that adds up.
that's right. That's right. And then looking at really what counts is a lot of folks will get tripped up in just what actually counts towards IRMAA, right? So the government bases it on your modified adjusted gross income, or the other name, MAGI.
Maggie. And that includes almost everything. I won't have anything positive or negative to add to the name Maggie. It's a friendly name, but there's never been a hurricane
That's
that's
right.
torn through Florida named Maggie. So Irma, nah, that one's still fresh.
Yep.
So, Maggie, that's going to include almost everything. So, sources of income that are counted in the modified adjusted gross income equation or formula is general wages, pension income, traditional IRA or 401k withdrawals, required minimum distributions from your retirement accounts, capital gains, dividends and interest, rental income, and even tax exempt municipal bond interest.
That's right. And that all piles up to your end modified adjusted gross income. And if it crosses that IRS threshold, your Medicare premiums increase automatically.
Which is just crazy to think about it, right? It's like, if you think about why this is happening, like what is it that made this all occur? Well, Medicare and general health care, the cost of that is inflating significantly above general inflation. And so to assist in these Medicare, these inflation, cost of inflating healthcare cost, Medicare premiums are going up, and they're basically taxing the rich to do that, to cover the surcharge, so that they can put that back into the program. So it's not technically a tax, but it is, right? It's just a hidden tax, is what we would call it. It's not one that's truly on paper on the IRS tax code, but
Yep.
taxes taking money away from you. That's what taxes are. So this is just a roundabout way of doing it, but they're calling it a surcharge. But here's the good news: is not all income counts. So that's where Roth IRA withdrawals, which again, Roth has been gaining a lot of momentum in the industry. It's definitely something that we believe in and are advocates for. So any type of Roth IRA withdrawal is not going to count towards your MAGI. Roth conversions after they've been taxed are not going to count. And Roth annuity income are completely excluded from MAGI calculations. So that's really where the secret sauce is in Roth in general, is that any income distribution, regardless if it just comes from a Roth IRA or an annuity that's been converted to a Roth, those income distributions are not going to be taxable, nor are they going to calculate against your modified adjusted gross income.
That's right. It just becomes a game changer. So at the end of the day, if you're able to transition part of that retirement savings to Roth annuity, you can just create a tax-free income that doesn't trigger the IRMAA at all.
Yeah. So something else that talks to me about this name IRMAA, right? Like, since it's a subject here, that's like a side subject. I don't think people are going to be naming their children IRMAA anytime soon, because,
Not in Florida.
because of this surcharge,
Florida has multiple reasons, right?
Oh my
We're a pretty
gosh.
heavy retirement state.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the
So like,
hurricane.
the grandparents, the baby boomer generation right now that's retiring, they're going to lobby for their children not to name their grandchildren or their children's children IRMAA. So we can almost guarantee that. So for 2025, married couples with modified adjusted gross income levels above roughly $206,000 will start paying IRMAA. So that is the threshold for this surcharge, is if you're making an income above $206,000, that's when you're going to be subject to these IRMAA surcharges. Single filers get hit above 103,000. So cut that joint level in half. If you're earning above 103,000 as a single filer, you may be subject to these IRMAA surcharges.
And I'm working with a client right now who's his wife recently passed, and we were talking about the impacts here that he's having of that income amount. He's like, man, Zach, he's like, I just feel like I'm being beat over the head here. He's like, my expenses haven't really changed. So he's like, it's really beating me up that much more now. But
Yeah,
those
it's unfortunate.
penalties, yeah, it is. And those penalties increase in tiers. So when we look at that, the higher your MAGI, the higher your Medicare premiums, and you can't appeal it unless there's a life-changing event like retirement or income loss.
And that's why planning ahead is key here. The IRMAA system uses a 2-year look back. So the income you earn in 2023 determines your 2025 Medicare cost in that example. So, really planning to make sure that your income in every year is going to be, enough to cover you for where your essentials and what you need to sustain your life, but also thinking about other creative ways that you can generate retirement income that is not subject or counted in the modified adjusted gross income calculation. And that's going to lead us and segue right into our next section. So take that away, Zach.
Right. So why use an annuity for that Roth conversion? And now let's connect those dots a little bit. So how does a Roth annuity help in this situation?
Yeah. So when you first look at it, when you fund a Roth annuity, it's typically done through a Roth conversion. So the process really looks like, taking your IRA, or maybe it's a 401k, that's a traditional, and you're going to convert it over time into a Roth. Well, in an annuity, the way that that's done is you first move the IRA, the traditional IRA or 401k, into the annuity. Okay. And then within the annuity contract itself, most carriers today are annuity friendly, Roth conversion annuity friendly. So not all of them, but there's a good handful of them that are. We'll help you identify those, if you decide to work with us on this. But there's a handful of them. There's some that are better than others in regards to the products that they have. So it's really key to make sure you get in with a good one. But when that lump sum rolls into the annuity, then within that annuity contract, on an annual basis, we'll do the planning with you to determine how much should be converted to Roth on an annual basis. So, making sure that we're not having bracket creep, which we covered in previous episodes, and making sure that we're efficiently distributing that Roth conversion in a way that, you don't have an inflated tax liability because it wasn't done the right way. But within that annuity contract, you're going to be able to do those conversions annually. Usually it's done over like a 5 to 7 year period. That's usually what we find to be the most optimal. And the annuity carrier itself helps us with that process, so that everything's done in a streamlined format.
Yeah, and not every carrier will offer a partial Roth conversion, and that would be in which you're making a Roth conversion on an annual basis or over the span of several years. Some may only allow for a one-time conversion. So keeping that in mind and having that conversation we'll take a look at. And some of the way that that's managed is with a bonus in these annuities. So many of the top-rated carriers do offer a bonus in the range of 8 to 20%. And that's a bonus to the premium. So the dollar amount applied to the annuity, which can effectively help cover that tax liability.
Yeah, a lot of times we get asked, why would carriers be willing to offer a bonus on a transaction like this? Well, there's a couple reasons, and what we've seen is that first and foremost, carriers are trying to aggregate premiums. They're trying to collect massive amounts of money. And so one way that they can pull the lever is to try to offer these incentives so that when someone comes to you, they can position a bonus in front of you that looks attractive. But in addition to that, we kind of see through that where the bonus tends to really be a marketing front, if you will, to get people to look at that product. Not saying that that's a bad thing, but there's only 100 pennies in a dollar. That's our philosophy here. There's no free lunch. The bonus is a good thing in this context. Normally, if you've heard other episodes of ours, we're kind of against products with bonuses because over a long contract period, the products that tend to have little to no bonus have more favorable index crediting rates, which is how your money earns interest. And so over a 10-year window, the crediting strategies would outperform the product that has a higher bonus, because where the carrier pulls back in the contract if they offer a big upfront bonus is on the underlying crediting strategies and the rates that are offered on those strategies. So over a 10-year window, if we were to look at both products, including one with a bonus, one without, the one with the bonus generally would outperform, assuming markets were favorable for those indexes. So, but in this case, right, nobody wants to stroke a check to Uncle Sam and lose money that could be compounding, right? So the bonus actually gives you that extra money to cover the tax liability on that Roth conversion each year, which then allows more money to go into the growth bucket of the annuity to then grow over time. So that's where we see this being a really good play on using or leveraging an annuity with a bonus. Is it's a lot easier to write a check to Uncle Sam using the carrier's money. That's essentially what this is.
That's right.
So when you look at this example, let's say you convert 100,000 into a Roth annuity, and let's just use a 10% bonus for easy math purposes. The carrier is going to give you $110,000 credited to your account value day one. So that bonus can help offset the taxes you'll owe on that conversion and any years later that you have a conversion as well.
That's right. So just as you had mentioned, we're using the carrier's money to cover that tax hit while creating a lifetime, if we're using it for income, a lifetime of tax-free income or growth.
And it's one of the most tax efficient ways to reposition assets, especially for retirees trying to decrease taxable income and increase predictability. I mean, think about it. The guarantees of an income annuity, having that income stream for the rest of your life, but then also knowing that that income is also tax free for the rest of your life. I mean, that's just a win-win scenario there for the consumer. And it puts a lot of clarity, peace of mind, and predictability more so than anything about what their financial picture looks like, especially from an income perspective, knowing that Uncle Sam's greasy little dirty hands don't have a grasp on your hard-earned dollars.
That's right. And jumping into the next segment is where we kind of differentiate or use an annuity for a couple different purposes with that Roth. So we can use it for safe market growth, can also use it for a guarantee of income. And the second major benefit of that Roth annuity is guaranteed lifetime income for one or both spouses.
Yeah, that's the part that most people overlook. You're not just lowering your taxes here in this strategy, you're also locking in guaranteed tax-free cash flow that you can never outlive for both you and or you and your spouse, which I mean, think about the power that that gives a couple as they begin to age and they start to look out into the future on what their life looks like. Well, one of the things that at least with the thousands of people at this point that I've talked to and having these types of conversations, generally they have a concern about what happens when one of the spouses passes away. And generally it's the male, in this demographic, not saying trying to generalize anything, but traditionally, men were more of the breadwinners in this era, the baby boomer generation. And so, what often happens in that scenario is that the wife of that relationship generally didn't have a lot of involvement in the finances either. And when the male starts to think about the future, they're thinking about how do they continue to protect their spouse even when they're gone, even after they're gone. And that is the powerful testimony to a guaranteed lifetime income stream that's structured for joint life, is that if or when that happens. And the other part is that the in general, I'm stuttering here. In general, the husband is normally a few years older than the wife as well, just the way that era was. And with that being said, the probability then looks from an actuarial perspective that the male will pass before the female. So, with that being said, there's nothing more powerful than knowing that your spouse is taken care of in the most critical and challenging time in their life of losing their best friend. And in addition to that, the other benefits of a Roth annuity in this case for income is that when that wife is left alone now and under what's called the widow's penalty, which is essentially the term defining the period of time that the husband has passed, the following year, that spouse, that wife will now be filing as a single file widow. And so now her IRMAA charges threshold went from 206,000 down to 103,000, and her tax brackets are going to be higher,
Mhm.
most likely because of this income. So when you have the Roth income as a really strong foundation, you know that you're not leaving a ticking tax time bomb for your wife. And that's beautiful. And I
Yeah.
think that isn't spoken to enough, the power that that provides through peace of mind and clarity, that you're taking care of your obligation, your duty to serve your wife even after you're gone.
Yeah. Like you had mentioned, don't have to worry about IRMAA surprises, RMD hikes, or market volatility being thrown into that plan. So ultimately, it's just like turning on that retirement plan to have a predictable paycheck, tax free and guaranteed.
100%. So let's go ahead and get into the real couple case study here. So this is a real story, a couple that we worked with not so long ago. Both were 63 years young and had around a $1 million in IRAs and another 200,000 in general savings.
Right. So they were looking at about 8,400 a year in IRMAA penalties once they hit Medicare. We helped them move a portion of their IRA into a Roth annuity, and that happened to have a 12% bonus. So what we did is we spread that out over a 3-year conversion schedule.
One observation here to cover is that the bonus ranges can be anywhere from like we said 8% up to I've seen them higher than 20%.
Yeah.
In this case study, we used an annuity for this Roth conversion that only had a 12% bonus. And so some people may be scratching their head there at home saying, well, why didn't they go with a bigger bonus? Well, we evaluate these annuities holistically. We don't just look at one grading element to determine whether or not that annuity is right for the circumstance. We really look at it from, in this case, 6 key elements. So we call it our multi-point annuity inspection. And what we find in doing this inspection process is that, we're going to find the best value. We're not just looking at it from one angle, we're looking at it holistically from every angle that we can find and determine based on the situation. So in this case, going with a bit lower of a bonus, but had better features in other ways in this annuity contract to help achieve the goals and objectives of this couple, that was the best path forward. So that's what we did here. So in that case, the bonus, right, it helped cover the taxes on the conversion, and their future annuity income is now completely tax free. And this couple was just completely elated over, really finding this opportunity, because before they came to work with us, they didn't know about this. It was something that we advised them on after learning about their situation, what goals they had, and really what retirement risks they were up against. And once we kind of looked at everything piece by piece, we were able to build a cohesive strategy that would put them in a better position ultimately.
And it's interesting because, one of the things they brought to the table was the feeling or the notion that they started this too late. I think we hear that a good amount, just the opinion that, oh, I'm starting this too late, or they think they've missed the boat here, and you really haven't. At 63, you still have time. And in this case, we had 3 years where we made this conversion, and then this met their plan. So it's not a matter of starting too late. It's a matter of just putting the plan in order and following it through. So in this case, IRMAA penalties dropped to 0, Medicare costs stabilize, and they now have guaranteed income for the two of them for life.
Yeah, it's never too late. There obviously is benefits to starting earlier than later.
Mhm.
In this case, we want to try to get those conversions started before age 65 if possible. So the younger you are, the better it is for that. Let's say you retire at 60 or 62, that gives us a few years before Medicare to be able to start getting those Roth conversions done. But ultimately, it's better to have a plan than not to have one at all.
Right.
And we can plan and construct a plan that addresses everything, including the now. So if you're a bit older, but you still don't have a plan, obviously we're going to take that into consideration of your current age and your situation, and still build a plan with an annuity that's going to put you in a better position long term. And that's really our goal. Is we're not here to just sell you an annuity. That's not the goal. The goal is to either take the plan that you already have, evaluate it together, and then right fit the annuity like a puzzle piece. Or if you don't have a plan at all, we build that puzzle together and we put all the pieces together. And that's really the way that we operate. So, I mean, we serve both ways. If you already have a plan and you know what you want and you kind of have an idea what that puzzle piece may look like, and you just want to evaluate the annuity marketplace, that's what we do. We specialize in really giving you a well-rounded view of the entire independent annuity marketplace. We're not carrier or product exclusive. We're product agnostic and carrier agnostic. Our relationship is with you, the client, not with the carrier. We don't care who we work with as long as it's someone that meets your goals and then obviously meets our philosophy when it comes to grading these carriers and their products. So that's really ultimately um, the value that we bring to the table, and we appreciate the opportunity to do that. We're passionate about it.
Yeah, and we've had some situations where, bringing the tax advisor, including them on our conversation just to make sure we're setting up the proper plan. We're not, from our end of it, we know enough to be dangerous, but we're not tax advisors by any means. So bringing that to the table, having another person in that cabinet to make this decision adds that much more value.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
So
Where are we
jumping
at now?
into, yeah, so just jumping into the framework of how, how would we implement this and how could you do this going forward? So framework would be as follows. So calculate your MAGI and identify your IRMAA exposure. I'm just dropping acronyms like crazy here.
Calculate your MAGI and identify your IRMAA. That's funny.
Next would be segment income sources. So taxable, tax deferred, and tax free. Third, plan multi-year Roth conversions before age 65 if possible, or between RMD ages. Next would be use an annuity with a premium bonus to offset those taxes. And lastly, activate that lifetime of income when you're ready, ideally as part of a spouse coordinated plan.
I love it. This strategy lets you convert taxable assets into tax-free lifetime income without triggering IRMAA penalties. It's proactive planning, not reactive planning.
That's right. So who should consider this? If your combined retirement income is between 150,000 and 300,000, this approach can really help you save thousands in IRMAA surcharges every year.
I'm Jeremiah Conjure of Annuity Association, and I'll save you thousands in IRMAA charges. I guarantee it. That's like one of the radio ads
Yeah,
for like one of
flash
the
the
car
800
dealerships
number
down
under.
here. Yeah. So even if you're under the threshold now, future RMDs could also put you into a higher income situation as well as market growth. So if it pushes you over that threshold, that's where things get serious. And it really comes down to the proper planning to get ahead of these future brackets, right? To get ahead of that potential, what if this happens? That's where the planning comes into play. And, there's other things to consider. Maybe you're right at the cusp of that threshold and you're thinking that you're going to be okay. Well, there's things like inflation, right? That's going to require you to take more income at some point in the future that could push you up to a higher threshold or past the threshold. And then at age 73, future required minimum distributions, those are going to turn on. That can put you into that situation. And then general market growth, things like dividends or any other interest that you earn in non-deferred accounts can push you over. So it's all about the planning. So you need to have a full evaluation done on your situation. That's something we can help you with.
That's right.
So if you want to know exactly how much IRMAA could cost you if you get into those situations, and also how a Roth annuity could help you avoid it, in the bottom of this show, there is a description in the show notes there that's going to have a unique link to request your free IRMAA and or Roth annuity conversion strategy session. It's absolutely free. We're committing to spend as much time as needed to give you some clarity and information on how these plans and strategies can help put you in a better position. So feel free to click the link in the description here, wherever you may be watching this episode, and that'll connect you to someone like Zach on our team that will give you, the white glove service that you deserve to put yourself in a better position. Even if you come out of it just knowing where you're at, right? You don't have to make any moves necessarily at that time, but at least you have a good understanding of your position and how it could possibly improve. Maybe you're not just yet ready to meet with somebody, but you want to start getting familiar with annuities and the independent annuity marketplace. We provide the most transparent and clear, informative, and educational report on the marketplace today. There will be a unique link that you can click to request that free report, and we'll send that out to you as well. And then lastly, we're working on this right now, but we are building out a new Roth annuity report. So there'll be a unique link for that as well, which will ask you a few questions and then show you how a Roth annuity strategy could save you a lot of money when it comes to future taxation and or IRMAA surcharges.
I didn't think you dropped that on them just yet. Okay.
Yeah, we're working on it. So I just want to get it out there because this
Yeah.
this video is going to be watched in the future. So it
I
will
like
be
it.
out there. Yeah.
Well, we did miss something. So we will wrap it with this. By the way, thank you for everybody for watching. Also want to say thank you to any IRMAs and MAGIs for watching specifically.
Yeah. No offense to the IRMAs out there. It's a beautiful name. It's just that hurricane wreaked havoc in Florida.
No, thank you very much. And as we did not lead the show with, but we will end the show with, I'm Zach Van Ness.
And I'm
And with
Jeremiah
me,
Conjure.
and we are the Annuity
Annuity Dude.
Dude.
Signing off. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Everyone take care of one another. Sayonara.
See ya.